Hi, my name is Bob Bianchi, and this is my partner, Dave Bruno, from the Bianchi Law Group, Bianchi. We'd ask that you guys try to follow us on Twitter at rbianchiesq and dbrunoesq. We're certified criminal trial attorneys, former homicide prosecutors, and we love discussing these cases and actually do so a lot on the national media. So please follow us on Facebook or Google Plus or on Twitter, and hopefully you'll enjoy these videos. Today we want to talk about the unfortunate Baltimore incident with Freddie Gray and get into some of the legal principles that are at play here with this investigation, as well as the ensuing riots that have occurred as a result of this. And Dave, I think I'm going to kick it off with the idea that I think a lot of people are making a mistake in an investigation with regard to the manner in which a homicide investigation, and me and you have done plenty of homicide investigations, and how they go about. And I was really upset about the fact that two things that concern me. While I think this police commissioner is doing a really good job, I don't believe any police agency should be investigating its own. You know, when I was the head county prosecutor and you were my major crimes assistant prosecutor, when there was an in-depth police scenario, we immediately took that investigation away from that local agency so that there wouldn't be an appearance of impropriety. And already they're investigating their own, and we find out that significant videotaped evidence that could have been secured to canvas, which you know is one of the first things we do when we go on a homicide scene, they didn't get to until over a week later, and by the time they got to the stores that had those videotapes, they had been overwritten. And there's this critical 45-minute period of time that we need to find out what happened in this particular case. And I think investigatively, that's going to be a major problem, in addition to the fact that there have been some other pieces of evidence that have been lost at this point in time. But my prediction, Dave, is that if this man was inside this van and he was shackled and they have a responsibility for his care and custody, that these injuries were so significant that they had to have resulted from potentially reckless conduct. And criminally, reckless conduct can be prosecuted if it rises to the level of a high probability, and that's the standard that they use, a high probability that the known risk was not properly addressed by these police officers, and even though they may not have intended the death of Freddie Gray, the death occurred nevertheless, and that in New Jersey would support a manslaughter conviction or even an aggravated manslaughter conviction, and in other states they have similar sentencing provisions as well. I was curious, what do you think about that and the potential of where it could go in terms of an actual murder charge?
Well, sure. The preservation of evidence is critical in any criminal investigation. And it is troubling to hear that there could have been video evidence and other evidence that they could have secured and they don't have now. I think there's another substantial legal issue going on here, and that is of the 6 officers that have been suspended. If there are potential criminal offenses or charges against them, they all have Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent. So if they don't have the evidence of videos or other things like that, they may not be able to get the evidence from the officers themselves. If they invoke their right to remain silent, which we do and we recommend to our clients if they're targets of a criminal investigation, there may be substantial gap as to what happened inside that transport van.
Yeah, and I think this is crucial because it's what occurred in the van. And as I said today on Fox News, I was very disconcerted by the fact also that these transport vans in this era don't have video recording equipment in it like most of the vans did in the counties in which we worked in. These video recording equipments and body cameras need to be federally mandated projects because it typically will clear many police officers from bogus allegations, but also ferret out those officers that aren't doing something right. So I agree with that, and the only really recourse for the prosecutor, if they can't get this information because of the invocation of the Fifth Amendment, is to try to grant some of these individuals immunity. So it's really a sad thing because the prosecutor has to be concerned about winning a case beyond a reasonable doubt. And with the Brown case, the Garner case, and now this case, I think that that's lost on many people, is that it's a very, very high burden to convince 12 people, especially when you don't have the evidence, the witnesses or the videotapes that you need in order to show that this went above and beyond mere negligence, but to a conscious disregard to a known risk. Certainly they'll go with not giving a medical treatment when they should have. The commissioners admitted to that. Certainly they're going to go to the fact that he wasn't belted. Commissioners already admitted that's a mistake. But does that rise to that level of criminal recklessness? Without that evidence, they may be out of luck.
Yeah, tough case. They're always tough to prove as a prosecutor, right? It's beyond a reasonable doubt. Defendants have a presumption of innocence, and it's a high standard to get over.
Hey, listen, we love if you guys followed us on the Bianchi Law Group. Like I said, our Bianchi ESQ at Twitter, and D Bruno ESQ. Follow us on Facebook at the Bianchi Law Group, and we'll be back with our next video. Appreciate you watching.